Okay, so this is another one of our impromptu blogs because someone decided to drag me out to the movie theater.
Yay!
And she's like, hey, I want to see Gone Girl. And I'm like, I know virtually nothing about this movie, but let's go.
Big disclaimer first, neither of us have read the book, which is weird. Normally when we go and see book-to-movie adaptations, we've read the books. I kind of am happy that I didn't read the book before.
I am too. I'm very happy.
Because all of the twists and turns, we were able to, like, be emotionally, like...
Just like, yeah. We weren't going, oh, they did this well, or, oh, they didn't do this in the book. You weren't thinking about that. You're just sitting there, eyes wide, watching as this thing plays out
Unfolds.
in front of you. And you're like, wow.
So as usual, this review will contain massive spoilers, because I don't think there's any way we can talk about this movie without, like, spoiling it, because it was just a twisty, turny road to hell.
Yes. Yes, it was. Wow. I've been thinking about this movie all day.
We've been texting about this. We were both at work, and Chelsey texted me, so, have you been thinking about Gone Girl? And I was like, I've been trying to crush it in the back of my mind, but...
Nope.
It's there.
Oh my god. I love it, like, for the first, I'm gonna call it a third of the movie.
Yeah. This movie definitely had, like, phases to it.
Yeah. And where you're kind of like, well, they're setting it up like he probably killed her, and I'm just watching it like, no, I don't think he did, because it folds too neatly. This is gonna have some kind of twist to it.
There are these points throughout the movie where there are the big kind of reveals. And not necessarily with how she disappeared, but, like, because he's not telling you something. And you can tell that because he, like, when they're asking him about his wife and stuff, he's unable to answer basic questions. And so that's suspicious. But it's almost, as you said, too suspicious.
Right. And you know she's gone. You figure she's probably dead, but you don't think he did it. So you're like, okay, who did it? And then it turns out she did it. And she's still alive.
So basically, this movie starts with Ben Affleck, because that was Ben Affleck. That blew my mind. He goes and he visits his sister at the bar that they run together. He returns home. It's his 5th anniversary with his wife, to find her missing. Table's been overturned. It looks like a crime scene. He calls the police. They're going around. They're trying to figure it out. They find, like, a blood spatter on top of the stove, and so that automatically makes it suspicious, because all of the suspicious stuff happening, they automatically call it a missing person case. Parents fly in, and they're trying to figure it out, and he's looking more and more suspicious.
Things start to come out, like the fact that he was having an affair.
Yeah, that was your first big, like, twist.
Yeah,
he's having an affair with one of his students.
You're also getting, like, this interspersed with her diary entries, which are, like, talking first about how they met, how they fell in love, what their life was like in New York, and then he loses his job, she loses her job, they don't have a lot of money anymore, and slowly their marriage starts to fall apart. And then she says, oh, you know, she starts to become afraid of him, like she's been superfluous, she doesn't belong here, and then he kind of starts to get violent towards her. And this is, like, playing out throughout.
And it's really, really well done, because the way it starts, you automatically, everything that this woman in her diary is telling you, you believe it. Like,
I don't know,
I thought it was really well done in that fact, because it started out so slow, so it the way they did it, it was very, very believable, until the fucking second twist.
Which is the fact that she faked her own death just to get back at him for having this affair and not needing her anymore.
It was messed up. Oh my god, like, I loved how they did it. Like, how she's, like, basically talking to you, the audience, of how to fake your death. So
you see her, like, just going around, like, befriending people so that she has,
like, this is meticulously planned. That's what disturbed me the most.
This is like she planned her own murder. That is what she did, and that's why it's so disturbing. It's not like, oh, she planned to get back at her husband by some clever revenge. It's she planned her own death.
And it's not just, it's her death. She plans to commit suicide. So they find her body so he gets the death penalty. Like, this is like some
ultimate revenge kind of shit.
And just like, yeah, you know, befriend a stupid pregnant woman.
She does. She befriends the woman who's having triplets. And she goes around and she creates a crime scene that looks staged. You know what I mean?
And then creates a crime scene that looks believable and cleans it up to, like, hide it. Like,
she like actually drains her own blood on the floor then cleans it up.
That was the second part that really disturbed me. The amount of bodily harm that this woman will put herself through
just to get what she wants.
And she does this on more than one occasion, and that was what disturbed me probably the most. And so she goes, she does all of this, she leaves, she's hiding out in this, like, hotel thing. And there's a scene where two of the people find out that she has money, and so they
steal it.
They steal it, and they attack her. And the one guy makes a very good point in the fact that no one's attacked you. You don't know how to react. Like, you've never been physically or emotionally attacked yourself. And that kind of was
like a big point. And he was like, yeah, there are people worse than us out there, and you're kind of wondering if she's kind of almost one of them.
Yeah.
But so then the story kind of splits because Ben Affleck has actually realized that she's alive and he's figured out her big trick, but now he's under suspicion by the cops that he probably did it, and the media is just a feeding frenzy.
She is so brilliant in the fact that she makes it possible for him to figure that out, so he knows that she did this to her, but she's covered her tracks so well that no one can believe him.
His lawyer believes him, which is a stroke of brilliance.
The lawyer is so much fun.
He was
I love
Tyler
the lawyer.
Perry too.
He was great.
He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's like supposedly the sleazy lawyer who gets all of the wife beaters off kind of thing, but you know, he was actually pretty relatable.
Yeah, like
he didn't
feel like a douchebag. Yeah.
His sister believes him too.
The sister's a lot of fun. I really like the sister. Yeah. Like she's so blunt.
She's the voice of reason.
Yeah.
And she's a good, supportive person. She was really good. But anyways, so, he's got a few people who believe him and are actually, like, trying to help him get off, deal with the media, and, meanwhile, she's kind of destitute at this point. She's got nothing. So she calls up her old stalker.
Her ex-boyfriend from, like, college.
Yeah. Who turned to stalking her. And so he's like, and she tells him, like, a story, like, oh, you know what,
he beat me.
That's
I lost the baby.
That's why I'm hiding from him. Nobody can know that I'm here because I want him to go to jail for what happened to me. And he just eats it right up, and he's like,
I'll put you up at my lake house. And to make this about a million times worse, creepy stalker ex-boyfriend is Neil Patrick Harris.
And so you're uncomfortable because you're like, this is Barney Stinson. He's pretty harmless, but
he's not. He's like, ugh, like, he's creepy. And she's like, but you still feel sorry for him because she's so much worse.
Because he...
Oh my god, like, she plays everyone like a fiddle. Like, she's just... She's
literally...
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so the thing about this movie is it's playing on characters' perceptions of other characters. So when Emily first met her husband, you know, she was playing the cool girl, the aloof girl who didn't care if he goes out late and parties with his friends or whatever. And, you know, he kind of played like the perfect husband for her, and she really enjoyed that role. And so when they came to, it was like Missouri, and had to kind of like
domesticate more.
Yeah, he kind of dropped the act and their marriage fell apart. She was really disappointed with that fact. And so she's kind of always, you realize, been playing these roles of what people want her to be. So when you get to Neil Patrick Harris, he has this version of her where she's like this perfect size 2, whatever. And she has kind of let herself go to become invisible to people. So when she was hiding out in that motel thing, she had, like, gained a bunch of weight.
She dyed her hair, wore glasses.
Like, something, like...
Cut it, like, had a blunt cut.
Yeah. Looked completely different. than what she was, but she was playing a role, right? This is what people will kind of look at and just forget about, kind of thing. She's one in a million. So she gets back to Neil Patrick Harris, and he's got this version of her, and he's like, hey, I got some hair dye for you. We can get you back to your old self now. And he has this version of her that he wants her to play. And so she kind of plays it for him to get what she wants.
And I mean, that really messed with me, because that is something that I've definitely had like discussions with people about, how you are a different person to different people. Like, how you interact with people draw out specific aspects of your personality. And so there are more people you feel comfortable with. There are people who you feel like you have to be...
You can't swear around them, or you can't possibly make a joke about this because you don't want to offend them. So you kind of pick and choose what aspects of your personality are.
And then that makes you start thinking, do I really actually know Chelsey? Or is Chelsey a crazy serial murderer? I don't know. You can never truly know another person. And then if you pull that back to the fact, marriage, you're supposed to know your significant other. You know, you're a team, you share everything. Well, imagine if that was a lie.
and just it breaks kind of marriage down to like the confines of what you can deal with and what you can...
How you affect one another, and how you change each other, and how you kind of corrupt one another. And that was like...
And your version of reality that you want to play out.
And I was just like sitting there just like, wow.
Oh my God. And it's just... And it turns out that she's like a true sociopath. Like, and I'm very specific with these two terms. I don't like to use them interchangeably because they're technically not interchangeable. Mm-hmm. A psychopath is somebody who you know is crazy. Like, you know, you sense it, you see it, they're disturbed, and no one is going to kind of fault you for being like, that person is psychotic. But a sociopath, you have no idea that they're in the room. They are just one of the crowd.
They can blend in.
That's what they do. They don't know how to, I guess, react in social situations, so they look at what other people are doing, and then that's how they base their social interactions.
They mimic.
And one of my friends actually was pointing out that sociopaths are like the one people who don't actually get better with group therapy. All they learn to do is how to better blend in with other people. So they're just terrifying people, and that's truly what she is, because she's just like, nope, this doesn't work. I want to be this person right now. This doesn't work. I need to be this person to get this.
And it's also, interestingly enough, mirrored in her childhood, because her parents wrote a series of books based off of her, but a better version of her. And so she's constantly has this better version of herself to compare herself to, of like the ideal Amy, the amazing Amy.
And just, so we get to the fucked up ending. She's kind of like stuck with
Neil Patrick Harris, because he ain't gonna let her leave.
And like, you're kind of like worried for her almost, like you're not sure if she sees this kind of slightly crazy person that's kind of hidden under there. But turns out she is the crazier crazy.
Oh my goodness. So, like, a lot, like, I'm pretty, especially with disturbing, like, twisty movies, I'm decent. I can deal with it. Like, my gore is my weakness. If there's gore, I can't do it. But this woman, like we mentioned earlier, the amount of physical harm she is willing to do to herself to get what she wants scared the crap out of me.
Like, she makes it look realistic. Like, she takes ropes and she like
does this, and like especially when she's draining herself of blood, she's sitting there with her arm out, draining blood into a bowl, reading a book, just like, okay, you know, this is something that has to go. Or she's standing in front of the mirror, just like doing this to like give herself burns for her rope burns. Like, and every day it's kind of implied after Neil Patrick Harris leaves for work, she takes red wine and stains like her nightgown, and like ties a rope around her ankle and like presses up against a glass window and like screams so like, it's on the tape, so that she's being like, looks like she's been held there.
And she like musses him up too. She's like, oh look, you know, bye sweetie, and she'll like muss him up and then push him at the door so it looks like he's actually been raping her.
And to the point where I turned away at one point, because it was just, She needs to make it look like she's been raped. She's going to kill him that night. And she takes a wine bottle. Ugh.
And she does it, just, with a,
methodical.
blank.
It's so methodical.
Yeah.
That's what made it.
It's just, the expression on her face. She's just whatever.
And
this
then,
has to happen.
So Neil Patrick Harris comes home, and so she instigates sex so that...
She just, so it just looks, realistic. She didn't even really need to. I don't think anybody was actually gonna pay too much attention.
But she,
Just to follow through with everything.
She hides a box cutter under the pillow. She slits his throat while he's on top of her so that he bleeds out on her. And then the next most disturbing shot in the film is he's dead. And she's sitting up on the bed and she's covered in blood. And there's this moment where it looks like she's about to lose it. Kind of holy crap, this guy. And then she just kind of shakes her head and just goes back to
blank face.
And I was just that is messed up.
And so she comes home and everybody's oh my god.
You escaped.
But there are people who kind of knew the truth that she was actually alive, the police detective who was kind of investigating him for this murder kind of realizes that, hey, he actually didn't kill his wife, and so his stories must be true. His sister, the lawyer, they're all okay, so she's back, but, we can't touch her. She may have murdered a guy, but we can't touch her because, the media is just all over her story as some kind of miracle. And if they tried, they'd be, burned at the stake as witches.
He can't get the divorce because everything she's been through to get back to him. So, basically, she has now trapped them in these roles for the rest of their lives.
And he could get out if he really wanted to, but then he starts thinking, why does he particularly want to? He almost develops this weird kind of Stockholm syndrome.
And she's gonna have a baby. She's gonna have his baby.
And that's kind of what seals the deal for the trap.
And there's one of my other favorite scenes is he's telling his sister everything, about the pregnancy, and she's just sitting on the floor and she is sobbing. She's just I can't believe you're going to stay with her. You want to stay with her.
I can't deal with her for another 18 years.
Yeah.
Holy crap, what is wrong with you?
And so basically this movie ends with her getting everything she wanted, him stuck and kind of liking it.
It's just this weird... What disturbed me was kind of this weird effect that she had on him where she kind of turns him into her because he's now complicit in this murder. He's now kind of almost condoning what she's done because he's giving her what she wants, and he's kind of agreed to play this fake role with her of this happy life that they're supposed to have.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? There is this old school film noir movie, it actually was remade, but basically this guy, I'm blanking on the name of this movie right now, he meets this really pretty girl who has a older husband and they plan to kill the husband. Yeah, it's very famous. And then basically she finds out that she's been using him this entire time to blame the murder on him. And depending on the version of the movie you watch, the old movie, they both get punished because old school Hollywood criminals can never win. But in the remake, in the 70s, Body Heat, she gets away with it. He's fucked. But she gets away with it. She ends up the movie ends with her on the beach, happily with all of this money.
And just, that's kind of what it reminds you of. Huh?
So this was, in a weird way, especially with the style, because we do need to talk about cinematography, was kind of like a neo-noir movie. Because it was very noir-esque.
It was just... Especially if you don't know what's happening going in. You're just, wide-eyed the entire time. Just, it was smoothly done. Just, from one moment to the next, you're just watching this, I can't believe this is getting darker than it already was.
And, the cinematography mirrored this. The colors were muted. Mm-hmm. The cuts made you uncomfortable. It was just... The style of the movie is just there while everything's happening, just kind of eating away at you, just... Ugh.
And it was skillfully put together.
Oh, yeah.
He put everything that he needed to put at the exact right moment that it needed to be there. Like, so all her flashbacks to her fake diary that she had made to incriminate him were, like, at the right places at the right time to make you suspicious, to kind of push the narrative along and really draw you in. And then when you find out that she's alive, you're already hooked and you're already just, like, waiting to see how this could possibly go down.
And, like, when you find out she's alive, you're just like, okay, that definitely felt like we are now entering the third act of this movie. Mm-hmm. And you're not. That's about the halfway point. There's still, like, we still got a hill to go down. Like,
oh my gosh.
It was so well done. Now, granted, we haven't read the book, so...
But I'm glad I didn't, actually.
I'm definitely interested to read the book now because I want to see, like, what they might have changed and what they might have left out, and the fact that Gillian Flynn, who wrote the book, actually wrote the screenplay. So I really like it when that happens.
Yeah, I think it works out well a lot of the time. And I think the actors did it well. Was that Reese Witherspoon?
No.
No. Who was Reese Witherspoon?
Was she in that movie?
She was in that movie. She was in the credits.
Oh, I think she was either the weird one of the reporters or the groupies. One of the groupies. Because that wasn't Reese. Basically, we got back from the theater and I needed to go on IMDb so I could find out the history of every actor in this movie. Ben Affleck is Ben Affleck. The father,
I love how you say his name like the commercial. Affleck.
The father of Amy, who I actually thought was also Neil Patrick Harris, isn't. He's famous. He was in House of Cards. How did I miss that? Amy was, her other big role was Jane Bennett in the Pride and Prejudice adaptation with Keira Knightley.
Oh.
Which blew my mind because, you know, Jane is always so nice and kind and everything. And then to see this role, which is like... Sociopath. So good on her, good actress. The sister... I don't remember what she was in, but she was in a bunch of stuff. Like, it was a good mix of, like, unknowns. So you didn't really see them as themselves.
Yeah.
Like, with Neil Patrick Harris, that's different. Because
I found that really hard to deal with, actually. I was like, why is Barney Stinson in this movie? Barney Stinson's creeping me out a little bit, but why is she killing Barney Stinson? I can't see Neil Patrick Harris as anyone else.
See, the only other thing that I can see Neil Patrick Harris as the character he plays is in Dr. Horrible.
Yeah.
Like, but I agree with you. If you put Neil Patrick Harris in a suit, I think Barney.
Yeah. And, like, granted, he did a good job.
He did do a very good job.
He was, like, just creepy and you're not sure whether he's gonna, like, end up murdering her or something, but I couldn't see him as other than a creepy
It's just our personal biases, basically.
Yeah. Like, had you never seen How I Met Your Mother, you would have been, like, perfect. But
yeah.
It's been 8 years of Barney Stinson and...
10, actually. 10 seasons. Ooh. There you go. How does that make you feel?
Don't talk to me.
Ben Affleck. See, he's not my favorite actor. But, you know, certain performances of his, I do really enjoy. Like, I really liked him in Argo.
Yeah.
I really liked him in Argo. I mean, we have Batflack coming up. But he's not my favorite.
Yeah, I agree.
But he did do a good job in this movie playing kind of like an asshole.
Yeah, he kind of had that smug grin down, which was actually supposed to be part of his character. It wasn't like, like it was something they referenced. So he did a great job of, I think, bringing out what he needed to bring out. But
do you think this is going to be up for any Oscars?
I think so. I would put it up for Best Adaptation. I
would also... I'm going to say Best Supporting Actress or Best Actress in a leading role for Amy. I'm going to say Neil Patrick Harris is going to get a Best Supporting Actor because he's Neil Patrick Harris, and he did do a really good job. I think that's David Fincher, the director, is going to get up for Best Director. Like,
yeah,
possibly cinematography, possibly adaptation, and possibly best picture. Now, granted, we're not in like Oscar season, so movies that are out on the fringes like this.
I might put the actress up for Best Actress.
Is she? I don't know if it's leading role or... Well, I guess if it's going to be supporting role, it would be the sister. So yeah, leading role. So I think that's a possibility because she was phenomenal.
She was.
Like, just like the little quirks, like... Oh, she was so well done. Like, that actress, like, congratulations. You scared the crap out of me.
Without actually being a horror movie.
Yeah, like...
Just wonderful.
And this is a movie that definitely sticks with you. Like,
I would say, like, it's not like a big action film. Go see it in the theater because you just get, like, immersed in it and you're just sitting there watching it, just wondering what is going to go down. So go see it. Go.
Please. Like, we're already discussing about seeing it again, but I don't think I can deal with it. I don't think I could do it.
I don't think I want to spend the money. That's just me.
Ugh, but man, that was really well done.
It was.
That is probably one of the best movies I have seen in theaters in a while.
I think so. I came home and I was like to my parents, like, go see this movie. Go and see it in theater. And I had no idea what I was getting into. I don't even think I had seen the trailer. I just kind of inferred from the title what was going to happen.
Like, this happened because one of my friends, like, oh, take this, like, voucher. I can't go to the theaters tonight. I'm just like, hey, Chelsey, I got this voucher. Do you want to go to the movies? I kind of want to see Gone Girl. It's showing at 7. Is this doable?
Oh, yeah. It was worth it.
So good.
This is such a random decision that was so worth it.
I find that the random movie decisions tend to be the best.
I think so. Also good, Where I Left You.
I still have to see that. I think I'm seeing that next week.
It wasn't, like, the most wonderful thing ever, but it's better than I thought it would be. So there you go. Anyways, that was our rant about this movie. So
go see Gone Girl!
Bye, guys.